Hey guys, today I'll be answering this question of why is it hard to face reality as a maladaptive daydreamer. Actually, there are two aspects to the equation, like the aspect of comparison and the aspect of neglect. So let's first talk about the aspect of comparison. You see, when you are a maladaptive daydreamer, you end up creating this imaginary world where things go your way. You may be having good relationships, you may be having a good job, or you are having this adventurous travels, or you're just creating something which you really feel you enjoy, or which you really feel you have control over, or like things are going your way. So when you create this world where everything is going your way, like for most time, then when you come back to the real world where things are not going your way, you tend to compare, or your mind tends to compare what's happening in the imaginary world and what's happening in this real world. So these aspects of comparison makes it really hard for you to face reality, because in reality you will get rejected, you will get manipulated, things will not go your way. In fact, there's war going on, like things are just hot and cold. There are good things happening and also bad things happening. But now, because in the imaginary world, we just used to this imagination or these amazing moments, that aspect in itself means that it's really, really hard to face reality, because you are getting used to a world where, or an illusionary world where the things happening in the real world will not match the things happening in that imaginary world. So that's why you find it really hard to face reality, because with facing reality you have to accept that actually there is good and bad, of course in quotes, and actually there are things which may not go your way, or there are things which you may not control in this real world. Like you may not control how your parents treat you, or you may not control if you'll be rejected by your crush, or you may not control the type of job sometimes you are supposed to work on, or you may not control your adventures, or you may not control just various aspects of real world. Now, that's why it's really hard to face reality, because you are comparing the two aspects. You may not be comparing it consciously, but your mind compares these two aspects. The other aspect is neglect. Actually, on average, like most maladaptive daydreamers spend 3 to 7 hours a day daydreaming. So when you spend 3 to 7 hours in a day daydreaming, or staying in an imaginary world, or building an imaginary world, or building relationships, careers, or anything you build in an imaginary world, you're just building things in the air. So when you build these things, you are ignoring building those things in real life. So when you ignore building those things for a very, very long time, you might find yourself isolated, having no friends, having no job, like not having like the motivation to study, or the motivation to focus on real life. So when you don't have that, you'll find that you'll be neglecting everything in your life, like most of the things in your life, you to the extent where you might even neglect your physical health. And when you neglect your physical health, of course, what happens? It gets to the point where you may become obese, or you may become anorexic, you may just have poor health. And when you have poor health, of course, it may get to the point where you really feel that it's hard to face that reality that you have poor health, because you've gone to that point where you feel that there's no point of return for you. And that's why it may really, really feel hard to face reality, because bad things are piling up in your life, like the things you're supposed, like the pain you're supposed to face, the responsibilities you're supposed to face. Let's say the debt which is going up the roof, you're supposed to face in real life, the assignments you've not done, the job applications you've never really sent, are just piling up. So when you really come back to the real world, you'll really, really find it hard to face the reality, because you've ignored the things you're supposed to do each day in your life. When you ignore something today, it doesn't go away, it goes to the next day. So imagine now ignoring things for 5 years, 10 years. It will be so overwhelming, and it will really feel that reality is not something you can face. So as a maladaptive daydreamer, you may find it really hard to face reality because of neglect and because of comparison. And this comparison is coupled with the lack of control in this imaginary world. So you have a choice. The conscious choice is to face the reality, even if it's hard. If you don't face it, the reality will force you to face it, because the pain will be so overwhelming, or that coping mechanism will get to the point where it's not working anymore. Like that form of escape is not working anymore, and you just have to come back and work on your real life stuff. Hope you found that informative, guys. Until next time, have a nice day.